10 a.m. Day 6. Gonna try and make it to Antwerp today. Maybe I'll book a room there. Have a fucking shower. Lord knows. Lord knows how bad I need one. Feels so disgusting right now. Just like my whole body is just slick with the residue of many days of sweat and dirt and filth. I have all this like crust of sunblock on my face, which I've reluctantly employed the use of. I'm against using sunblock and all this shit. But my skin is exposed to the sun all day, and first few days I got really badly sunburned. Like some of the areas that I got burned in now are coming up with like blisters all over them. It's like I have bubonic plague or something. My knees alright. You know, it's holding down its job. Hasn't developed any substance abuse issues as a way to cope. It's just plodding along stoically. A little bit beaten up. Got some battle scars. Yeah. Yeah, it managed to dry out, basically, is what I'm saying. It dried out, and, the infection and stuff is subsided, so the only thing I really have to worry about now is that the actual joint itself, or whatever problem I had years ago that they were never able to tell me what it was, doesn't sort of flare up again. Because that would fuck me right up. That would spell the end of all of this special plan for which there are no words. And my grimness is certainly back in full force, which, to be expected, is such a large part of who I am, right? It's me in response to that which I perceive, that which I see. It's not a happy marriage. Oh no. Quite an unhappy marriage, actually. Yeah. Yesterday, as I was walking, it was like the first little section of road during the day, and the classic grimness. I'm making like inventories in my head of all the things that I hate in the world. And, I started with the people, the classic people, they suck. Dogs, dogs. Because I'm just constantly being harassed by them as I walk for doing nothing, just being, right? But they don't like it. They can't handle it. They have to throw some shade on me. Figurative shade. Literal shade I'd be very, very happy with. Like, I need some shade. Like, I can't deal with this sun. Yesterday was so unpleasantly hot, and the sun has so much power. Too much power. Look at the mess that it's made with its power, its misplaced power. Shined its light on this wretched rock for far too long, and all of this life is sprouted up like a horrific garden from a single seed. And I hate having to wear the sunblock. Yesterday I made the mistake of putting it in my forehead, and it all ran into my eyes, and my eyes were just watering all day, and now I have this horrible crust all over my eyes. It feels like I have a honeycomb eye or whatever. So yeah, that was also on the list, was the sun of things I hate. The people, dogs, the sun, cars. Yeah, I don't like cars. Horrible fucking things, loud, spewing out shit everywhere. Make people unhealthy, obese, right? Take away cars and public transport, you solve just in an instant a whole load of health problems people have. And then we could stop wasting so much fucking money on the health system. You could lower people's taxes. Yeah, I mean, not just you directly, the people that are riding the cars, become healthier, but the people that are in the environment within which the cars are operating also become healthier because they're not having to breathe in all this shit. And so you solve a lot of health problems there too, right? It's so easy to solve so many problems that people have, but people just don't want to do it because people are, well, humanity, they don't change until it's because we're such creatures of habit, right? We refuse to change until there no longer is any possible way we can continue with our addictions, right? We have to abandon the addiction because it's easier now to do so than to continue to do so, right? To continue with the addiction, I mean. Or otherwise we're just so completely resisted. It takes a rare person with a rare degree of willpower or what have you, right? Just just happenstance, really. Ultimately, give someone the correct sort of genetic environmental mix circumstances in order to have a particular outcome, which is on the surface level being able to have surface level, I mean on appearances, having the willpower to overcome an addiction rather than external circumstances forcing them finally to abandon the addiction, because it's easier to do that than to continue with the addiction. But ultimately it's all just circumstance, right? It's thrusting people in any direction rather than another. I was thinking also yesterday in my grimness as I was walking around, just being irritated by people, irritated by these dogs and so on, and insects as well, like all these mosquitoes. I was thinking, just like this is like the planet of the retard, right? Basically, the majority of life here is completely retarded. I know I sound like completely arrogant here or whatever, but who cares? Like I'm just venting because like I'm miserable and yeah, I'm broken down. My filters have dissipated because I'm just like, I feel like I've been hit by a fucking truck, to be honest. I'm doing like back-to-back days of like marathon distance walks, so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like half enlightened or something. Yeah, it's the planet of the retard. Most people are just dumb animals, non-human animals, right? The human is an animal too. It's a horrible distinction that we make here. It comes from this fucking bullshit of Abrahamic religions, right? That's what it comes from. God, Jehovah, the fucking cunt fairy in the sky, giving us dominion over all life here, like we're some kind of fucking custodian of the earth, the steward of the earth. It's so silly. Like, it's so silly. Exhibit A, Planet of the Retards, right? And, right, most animals are dumb. Humans included, even intelligent humans, like supposedly, right, the most intelligent things on this planet, in terms of just IQ, right? And like what is the word I'm looking for? Precognition. I don't mean like I don't mean like in like a supernatural sense. I mean like just being able to observe the environment in such a way that you can sort of extrapolate patterns, trends, and so on, and with a reasonable degree of accuracy predict future outcomes. Worms can't really do that. Birds, other animals can't really do that. I don't think. I mean, they of course we know that they prepare for the future, but I think it's very instinctual. It's a lot to do with weather systems and yeah, I don't know, like solar winds and stuff like this. It's this probably affects humans as well. Way more than we actually realize. All of these things. Like there are psychological studies right on. A friend of mine always likes to bring this up to show just how utterly sort of unfree and biased we are, and how we're wholly unaware of how environment and like environmental circumstances are impacting the decisions that we make. Yeah, studies done on you give people you show people like a catalog of faces, right? And you ask them to rate the faces, like how do you feel about this person on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, is this a good or a bad person? And basically, invariably, the people always respond more positively to a particular image if they have a hot beverage in their hand. It gives them a feeling of warmth, right? And yeah, Planet of the Retard. Am I right? Yeah, like I go through these, having to walk through these towns like intermittently as well, right, on the walk, and I'm always so confronted about just how irritated I am by the other members of the species that I'm supposedly a part of. Just don't like being near them. Like I feel this, like it's like I'm trying to like what is it, like the magnetic repulsion or whatever. Like I just can't be in the same space as other human beings. I just feel like I'm being repelled by them. Like it's just this intense amount of tension. I don't like the way they smell. I can't like stand the way they sound. It's really, really intense. And I see the way they walk around, the way they behave, and stuff like this, and it's all just so animalistic. All of it's the weekend at the moment, right? So the last 2 nights, I've walked through towns and seen all this sort of courting behavior that goes on, and all of these Belgian fuckboys trying to look all fly and going around peacocking and And again, I have to ask the question, is this all that is, right? Is this all just one elaborate dance of going around and just vomiting cum and in some orifice or another in order to engender more more of these cum conveyors, that would just roam, gallivant about this realm and just continue indefinitely to perpetuate this thing until, if we're lucky, the sun swallows this entire galaxy, makes it disappear completely. I don't think it's the end of anything. That's far too. That's a far too optimistic ending. If I saw that ending in a movie, I'd be like, "Oh, this is the director has copped out here. They did a true detective on us." Yeah, it's like I always feel like such a pseudo intellectual when I quote philosophers and like literature and stuff like this, but it's kind of like, this issue here of the universe or just being. I prefer to use being because the universe has this sort of like very scientific materialistic connotations, but when I say being, it's sort of, there's some ambiguity as to whether, the primacy of consciousness or the primacy of matter. I'm sort of riding the fence there. I'm not saying that it's distinctly one or the other that is the fundamental seat of experience. But so this problem of being, like, it's kind of like that Chiron quote of the problem with suicide is that people always do it too late. Meaning, that the damage is already done, right? The best fate of all is to never be born, and the best universe of all is the one that never came into existence to begin with. And now we're here, so even if it ends, all of the suffering that has already occurred and is occurring. And it's like you can't put that back in the box. It's like one of those sleeping bags, from back in the day when the bags were way too small for the sleeping bag, and it was such a struggle to get it back in, and you never really could. So you would sort of resort to just putting it in a trash bag or something like this, and tying a bungee cord around it. And then the bag would rip and you'd have to replace it, and yeah. That's the universe. Basically. That's being. Don't take it out of the stuff sack, because you won't get it back in. And yet it has been taken out of the stuff sack. It can only ever be taken out of the stuff sack. There never was a stuff sack, right? And in a sense, there's no sleeping bag either, or either. There's nothing. This is nothing. This is like an echo of something. It's a shadow or reflection. It's something so unbelievably vague and transparent. It's hard to put this into words, but this is something that I've really I can get very sense very vividly sometimes, or even now. It's not like a profound, deep realization. It's something that feels very commonplace. This is just so. This isn't the solid thing that we imagine it to be, that we're led to believe that it is. the ultimate philosophical question: why is there something rather than nothing? And I would say that this is nothing. There isn't a distinction between something and nothing. They're one and the same. So how can you escape nothing? How can you put nothing back into the stuff sack that doesn't exist? You can't. There's nowhere to go. Yeah, okay. Day 6 of the walk across Europe. Let's go, guys. It's gonna be a great one. See you on the flip side.